Welcome to day 29. We are one day away from a full month of reading the Bible together, and I am so proud of you for sticking with this. Today is a big day because we're closing the book of Genesis. We're saying goodbye to the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. We're reading their final words, their final blessings, and their deaths. Genesis 48, 49, and 50 are all about endings and new beginnings. Tomorrow we start Exodus, which means we're leaving the family stories and entering the story of a nation. But first, let's honor how Genesis ends. Let's dive in. Genesis 48 opens with Joseph hearing that his father Jacob is sick and dying. Joseph takes his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and rushes to see their grandfather. Now, these boys were born in Egypt to Joseph's Egyptian wife. They're half Egyptian, and they've never lived with the family in Canaan. But Jacob is about to do something huge for them. When Joseph arrives, Jacob sits up in bed and says something powerful. Your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, are now mine. Just like Reuben and Simeon are mine, these boys are now my sons. Jacob is officially adopting them. This means Joseph's sons will each get a tribal inheritance. Instead of Joseph getting one portion, his family gets two. That is a massive honor. Jacob tells Joseph to bring the boys close so he can bless them. Now, Jacob's eyes are failing, just like his father Isaac's were. But unlike Isaac, Jacob knows exactly what he is doing. Joseph positions the boys carefully, Manasseh, the older one, on Jacob's right side, so he'll get the right-hand blessing, and Ephraim, the younger, on the left. But Jacob crosses his hands. He puts his right hand on Ephraim's head, the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head. The older, Joseph, sees this and thinks, "Oh no, Grandpa's confused. His eyes are bad, he mixed them up." So Joseph tries to move Jacob's hands and says, "No, father, not that way. This one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But Jacob refuses. He says, "I know, my son, I know. Manasseh will become great, but his younger brother will be greater. His descendants will become a group of nations." Once again, God is flipping the script. The older serves the younger. This has been the pattern since Genesis started. Isaac over Ishmael, Jacob over Esau, and now Ephraim over Manasseh. God doesn't work according to human expectations. Jacob blesses both boys and says, "In your name, Israel will pronounce this blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." And to this day, Jewish fathers still bless their sons with those words. Now comes one of the most important chapters in Genesis. Jacob calls all 12 sons to his bedside and says, "Gather around, so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come." What follows is a series of prophetic blessings, and some of them are not blessings at all. Some are straight-up rebukes. Reuben, the firstborn, you were my firstborn, my strength. But you will no longer excel because you slept with my concubine. Yikes. Reuben lost his birthright because of that sin back in Genesis 35. Simeon and Levi, cursed be their anger. I will scatter them in Israel. Remember, these are the brothers who massacred the city of Shechem in revenge. Jacob's still upset about that and prophecy. The tribe of Levi gets scattered, but God redeems it by making them the priests, Judah. This is the big one. Jacob says, "Judah, your brothers will praise you. You will rule over your enemies. The scepter will not depart from Judah until he to whom it belongs shall come." This is messianic prophecy. Jacob is saying the kingship will come through Judah's line. King David will come from Judah, and ultimately, Jesus, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, will come from this line. From the brother who made huge mistakes, who failed Tamar, who sold Joseph, God brings the Messiah. Grace upon grace, Zebulun, will live by the sea and become a harbor for ships. Issachar, strong but will become a servant, a workhorse. Dan will provide justice, but also be dangerous like a serpent. Gad will be attacked, but will attack back. Asher will have rich food and provide delicacies. Naphtali, a free-running deer with beautiful words. Joseph, Jacob pours out blessing here. Joseph is a fruitful vine, attacked by archers, but his bow remains steady. The blessings of your father are greater than the blessings of the ancient mountains. After everything Joseph suffered, Jacob honors him. Joseph doesn't get the kingship, but he gets abundance. Benjamin, a ravenous wolf, in the morning he devours the prey, in the evening he divides the plunder. Benjamin's tribe will be fierce warriors. King Saul and the Apostle Paul both come from Benjamin. After blessing his sons, Jacob gives one final instruction: bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Machpelah, where Abraham and Sarah are buried, where Isaac and Rebekah are buried, and where I buried Leah. He wants to be buried in the promised land, not in Egypt. Then Genesis 49:33 says, when Jacob finished giving instructions to his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Jacob is gone. Joseph throws himself on his father's body and weeps. The Egyptians embalm Jacob. Takes 40 days, and then they mourn for 70 days. That is almost the same mourning period as for Pharaoh himself. Showing how respected Jacob's family had become, Joseph asks Pharaoh for permission to go bury his father in Canaan. Pharaoh says yes, and the funeral procession is massive chariots, horsemen, Egyptian officials, all of Joseph's family. They stop at a place near the Jordan River and hold a 7-day ceremony of mourning, so intense that the Canaanites say, the Egyptians are holding a very solemn ceremony. Then they bury Jacob in the cave of Machpelah, just like he asked. After the funeral, Joseph's brothers start to panic. They think, what if Joseph was just being nice because Dad was alive? Now that Dad is dead, what if he pays us back for what we did? So they send Joseph a message claiming, possibly lying, that Jacob said, forgive your brothers for the wrong they did to you. Then they come to Joseph in person, fall down before him, and say, we are your slaves. And Joseph weeps. He says, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children. Joseph reassures them. Again, even after Jacob dies, Joseph chooses forgiveness. He chooses grace. He doesn't just forgive once, he keeps forgiving. Joseph lives to 110 years old. He sees his great-great-grandchildren, and before he dies, he says something prophetic. God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land, to the land he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then he makes them swear an oath. When God comes to your aid, carry my bones up from this place. Joseph knows they won't stay in Egypt forever. He knows God's promise is still Canaan. So when he dies, they embalm him and place him in a coffin in Egypt. And that is how Genesis ends. Not in the promised land, but in Egypt, with a coffin waiting. Day 29 teaches us some profound truths as we close Genesis. 1. Your words matter. Jacob's blessings shaped the future of entire tribes. Speak life over people. 2. God redeems broken stories. Judah, the one who sold Joseph, becomes the line of kings and the Messiah. Your past doesn't define your future. 3. Forgiveness is a choice you keep making. Joseph didn't forgive once and move on. He kept choosing grace every time his brothers doubted. 4. God's promises take time. Abraham was promised a land. His family ends Genesis in Egypt. But God's promise doesn't fail. It is just not done yet. Tomorrow is day 30, and we're starting the book of Exodus. We're reading Exodus 1, 2, and 3. And family, it gets intense. The Israelites go from favored immigrants to slaves in Egypt. A pharaoh rises who doesn't remember Joseph. Baby boys are being killed. And a man named Moses is born and placed in a basket in the Nile River. God is about to raise up a deliverer. Drop a comment. What was your favorite story from the entire book of Genesis? You've made it to day 29. Tomorrow is 30 days. That is a full month. That is not just reading. That is a habit you are building. Hit follow, turn on notifications, and I'll see you tomorrow as we begin the story of Moses and the Exodus. Keep reading, keep growing, and remember, God's promises are always worth the wait. Peace and blessings, family.